is Alex bringing you a new episode of Gravity Blues, the podcast where myself and my co-host Ryan explore our Earth and extraterrestrial concerns and interests. I think, is this the first pod of
Yes.
2026?
Welcome to the
Oh my
new
gosh.
year. 20 days into it. I
Yeah.
don't know how this is it really is this somehow ended up because of just the circumstances we've not not done the pod, but
I think we may have done one like
yeah.
right before New Year's Eve or around that time. Did like a gaming one, but I think, or if it isn't the first one, it's the second one. So I
Okay.
don't know, but we're definitely a cold start to the new year.
Yeah.
At least for us in Ohio over here. I just actually drove back from Columbus today, and half of it I had to drive like 10 under the actual speed limit because there's just snow everywhere. And you got the worst part actually isn't even the snow on the road. When you're like driving through these back roads, you get all the snow blowing off of these like the farmlands and these just like kind of flat areas. So you just get hit with like a blizzard coming from your left and right.
hmm
And yeah, it makes it a interesting experience. Like every few minutes, like there's just like a little like 1 second section where you just can't see anything because you just get hit with it. And it's just like,
Classic. Yeah.
makes makes it interesting drive at least,
Yeah.
but we made it, so it's all good.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. It's the time of year though where it's gonna happen, and hopefully we're getting out of it soonish, and then it'll warm up and we'll be complaining about the heat. So classic Ohio, right?
hmm
Um,
Yeah, yeah.
it's been an interesting week sports wise. We had some fun and some terrible, you know, NFL games go down.
hmm
Um, I like I don't think I've seen a worse game than that Texans or like not the Texans one. That one was terrible. The Niners one was terrible. It's just boring.
Oh yeah, that was gross. And those games I was actually really excited for.
Yeah.
Like I guess if you like defense, like if you don't like any offense, then you
You
just
know
like
what?
to see the defense getting a ton of turnovers. I don't know.
It's tough. I like defense when it's like sacks, but it's when
Yeah,
it's like embarrassing interceptions. Like that is not
it's like
fun.
self-inflicted
Yeah, it's like
errors by the offense.
CJ Stroud just going like having the worst game ever. And I'm like, what's this guy doing? It wasn't even like good defense he's playing like or it is a good defense, but I'm saying like it wasn't the defense going up crazy. It was just him playing bad.
No. And it's funny because they're going up against the Patriots, and Drake May didn't even play that great,
No.
but it was kind of like whatever team wanted to lose the most was going to lose that
Yeah.
game,
Yeah.
instead of what you get usually on the opposite end. And like even Josh Allen, uh, this was his like probably best chance ever to win a Super
Mm-hmm.
Bowl, at least to get out of the AFC. And I don't think this is the best team he's ever played on, but regardless, you could kind of see the
Yeah.
look on his face when they lost against who did they even play? Was it the Broncos? They play the Broncos, right? Dude,
Yeah.
I don't know, man. And it's like now the Broncos are like Bo Nix, their QB. He was hurt. He like
Exactly.
fractured
Yeah.
his ankle or something.
Jared Stidham.
So
Isn't that
so it looks
exciting?
like we're gonna get another Patriots Super Bowl run, unless
Oh
he
my gosh. Yeah,
clutches up.
it's crazy. I mean, you never know. He had apparently
That's true.
his first ever game. He threw like almost 400 yards. So
Mm.
could be just
I,
the right guy.
Yeah, I don't know if you saw it, but this was really funny. Nick Foles, who was the Eagles QB that stepped in when Carson Wentz got hurt, and then they
Yeah.
went on to beat the Patriots in the Super Bowl about like 10 years ago. He tweeted out and he was like, "Don't worry, Broncos fans. The Patriots are." He pretty much was saying the Patriots are pretty good at throwing games when they have to go up against a backup QB in a
Yeah.
in a clutch moment. So. We'll see. Maybe he's
It
going to
you
be the
know
next Nick Foles.
the thing is though with it is I can totally see the Broncos winning with him one game, but then there's no way they're gonna win
Yeah,
two, you know? And
not back to back.
so I'm like, it'd be fun to see, and then but then like the Super Bowl is just a lock, you know what I mean? And it would be boring.
Yeah,
So I don't know. We'll see how this goes, obviously.
yeah, yeah. I don't think with the remaining teams, it seems like it's the Sea are it's going to be Seahawks Patriots.
Hmm.
I
You're
think
counting
unless Sam Darnold is like hurt or something. I don't
you're
know
counting the Rams
because he
out,
was hurt before. But
you know?
oh, I forgot about the Rams.
So
Yeah, ooh, that's the trick. I think it might be the Rams. I don't know.
yeah.
That's a
I
trick. At
mean
least that game will be
yeah.
good. I think that game will be competitive at least.
Can you imagine though
Um,
Jarrett Stidham playing the Seahawks defense? Like that will be insane right now.
yeah, no, that would not be good.
All right,
Yeah.
let's leave sports because obviously there's stuff going down. Like we can talk more about that next time.
Hmm.
Uh,
Hmm.
I do want to throw out. We'll do more in depth movie stuff next pod because in between now and then is when all the Oscar stuff is going to drop in terms of their nominations, and we can go through that and make our predictions, that kind of thing. I will throw out
Yep.
just real fast. Um, my Rin's Rec of the Week. We're actually changing the format up a little bit. On Substack, I've been posting double features. So every Sunday, so like it just like what two movies I think that you should watch back to back and get the vibe off of.
Mm.
So let me hit you with that real quick. Just last night's, because we're recording on Monday morning, you know. So here we go. Last night I was like, okay, what's the vibe for this week? And this week I went with 2025 films. So we've talked about both of these, and I picked Hamnet and Marty Supreme. The theme of the week was actors that I think are incredible, and that would be Jesse Buckley and Timmy C. So, uh, if you want to look at other uh, double features that I've picked recently, that they're all on there. And I think last week's theme was, or last week I did Casablanca and Schindler's List. So
Mm.
I was like, I gotta think back. I went for 1940s movie. I got to do some 2025. The next week. That's why I did that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. And I'm, hearing you talk about both of these movies. It seems like, when we do those predictions, the next time we do this, I think both of them are going to be winning their respective fields, at least for,
I
the
I
actors and
think so.
actresses. And yeah, so that will be interesting. Because at least the Golden Globes, they both won, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I know Timmy did. Did Jessie Buckley
Yep.
win
Yep. She did.
best actress? And what's the field for that? Is it comedy drama?
They
Is that
both.
what it is?
She was in drama. Yeah, drama,
She
and
was in
then the
drama.
other
Okay.
one,
Okay.
one's drama, and the other is comedy slash musical.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I forget. I forget they do it kind of wonky. So,
Yeah, Golden
um,
Globes is silly, you know. They have their own weird format. But they only do that for leading
uh,
actors. They don't do that for supporting actors, which I think is kind of weird.
yeah.
They do
Oh,
yeah.
hmm oh yeah. I was just gonna throw out too. I think they were doing it this past weekend, but I think they're doing it next weekend too. But they're bringing back all the Lord of the Rings to like the extended versions
Ooh.
to theaters, or at least to Cinemarks. I know to Cinemarks. So
Yeah.
I think my one buddy, he's never seen them before. But I think we're not going to see all three in theaters because that's a
Yeah.
little that's a little too much, and I don't think my wallet has the
Well, that's like
I don't
16
know.
hours, right? I
That's a
mean,
lot.
they're like all four
Yeah,
and a
yeah,
half.
yeah, it's crazy. I'm okay. I'm not going to do that. But I think we're going to go see Return of the King.
Okay.
And if I had to pick one of the three, I'd probably go do that one. It is the longest, but I don't know. I feel
Yeah.
like you got to see the last one.
Yeah, I think
Last
Return
one
of
on
the
the
King
big
is
screen.
probably the best of them, you know.
Hmm.
See, the first one's great. I mean, they're all good. I mean, they're all great. They're all great.
They're all good. Yeah, you could pick either of them, but yeah,
I'll
I'm
have to
like,
look into that
yeah,
too.
let's go do that last one. Yeah. So
And I
if you're, go
yeah,
ahead.
I was gonna say, and you mentioned to me last week that the one bout after another might be coming back out onto
Yeah.
IMAX, and I need to go. I
I
need to go catch that if they do that.
Yeah, I think it's that and Sinners I saw are both coming back to IMAX.
They got to
So,
get their Oscar, their Oscar
hmm
buzz. They're gonna, as soon as it's announced, they'll be like, "All right, we're back in theaters for the next week." And you're like, oh, "Okay," but
yeah, yeah. I guess another thing too, just to shout out, you just mentioned Marty Supreme, but it did officially uh, pass. I think uh,
yeah,
everything, everywhere, all at once as A24's largest
domestic,
domestic
yeah,
um, box office in total. So that's really cool. And I remember there was a lot of people were like it was like the first weekend numbers are like, oh my god, it's such a flop, and I don't know. Like I went to see it again like a week ago with my dad, and it was almost a full theater, and this was
yeah.
like a week after 2026, so like almost a month after it had been released. So yeah, I would not say
That
it's a
one,
it's a flop.
yeah, I think it's and it speaks to the quality of it, but I think it is one that people are going to continue to rewatch and see. It is a kind of, you
Mm-hmm.
know, instant classic of a movie where I can see myself watching it once a year. You know what I mean? Where like there are certain other films this year. We can talk more about this next time, but like One After Another,
Yeah.
I think is a great movie, and I will rewatch that. I would, like I just said, I would love to go see it in theater. Uh, and it didn't make its money back at all. It made about half of its budget, and I don't think it's a
Mm-hmm.
flop because of that. But I will add that kind of movie will make its money back in the long run. Also, it's just it's especially when the
That's true.
awards come through, that it'll start making its money back that way. So just a different kind of film, obviously, than uh other things that come out and you're like, oh, it's a big blockbuster. But the thing is with that, it's like you know I love One After Another. Maybe Paul Thomas Anderson doesn't need $150 million to make the movie, though. I think that's
Mm.
maybe a huge budget for what it was. It's an awesome film, but yeah, I don't think it ever had like a chance to make that at the box office. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, which I guess I'll give props to, what is it, Warner Brothers,
Yeah,
that is kind of heading all of that. I'll give them props for
for
giving
doing it.
them
Yeah,
the, and I'm assuming they know that this was going to be the case, for a
yeah.
movie kind of like this. But hey, hopefully that means in the future, like, you keep getting these great
It's
directors
it's
making these movies, and
yeah. It's so interesting because the example that like I can think of a movie like that, like for adults, like a rated R for
mhm.
adults movie that like a drama like that, that did end up being too big at the box office is probably Oppenheimer, and
Yeah.
and obviously it looks like the Odyssey is gonna have that power too this next year or this year, and I wonder like what because in reality Nolan isn't really like a better or like I don't know, I wouldn't say he's in another class than Paul Thomas Anderson, you know what I mean? So
No. Yeah.
it's
Yeah,
interesting.
he almost has like that James Cameron. Like, James Cameron only really makes the Avatar movies now, but
Yeah,
I feel like he's kind of in that James Cameron or like Steven Spielberg echelon. But even like I feel like Steven Spielberg, whenever he does the movie now, it's not as like big as some of his previous movies. Like, I know he's doing one that's coming up. I think it's called Disclosure Day. I'm
yeah,
not really too familiar with it.
it looks
So I
good.
don't know if that's going to get. It looks good. It does look a little. It looks a little weird. So I don't know like how many people are going to come see it.
Yeah,
I'm going to,
action
but
sci-fi.
it'll be interesting to see. Yeah,
Yeah,
it'll be interesting to see what that looks like in terms of interest
sure,
from
sure.
everyone.
I do wonder. But like with that though, you mentioned like Spielberg and Nolan, or sorry, James Cameron, which I think those guys are more, these days they're more like big budget box office kind of directors, right? And I don't really think
Yeah.
Nolan is that. I think he does more of that. I mean, that's what it kind of is, right? But his movies are more like drama. They're more, and they're a little
Oh,
more
right.
I don't know, like harder to higher concept, I think, overall than like obviously Avatar or even some of the recent
Yeah.
Spielberg stuff. So it is interesting from that.
Yeah, I would just say I think there's almost a shift, and maybe he's kind of leading the shift where people are more interested in these kinds of
True,
movies,
true,
maybe.
true.
Because yeah, I don't know the numbers of Oppenheimer, but I know like there was the whole it came out at the same time as Barbie, and
Do you think
people
that's what it
were.
was? Is it purely just because of the meme?
I don't. Maybe for like younger people, maybe a little bit. I don't know.
I mean, but that's what drives it from like, making 100 million to like I think it made like 600. You know what I mean? So
I honestly, I would say it did help. It wasn't the studio really doing that. It was more just like kind of
yeah,
social media and other people.
yeah,
But it seemed like it did. So I guess I'll say that helped a little bit.
yeah,
Whether people actually went to go see it or not, or just had more discourse about it, I don't know. But I'd say there's probably a good amount of people that actually didn't really know too much about the movie until they heard about
yeah.
all that going on.
So okay, when Odyssey drops, do you think is it gonna like if it is, let's say that it is that same size, it's a huge hit that everyone goes and sees, and it looks like it, early discourse looks like it's going to be.
Hmm.
Uh, do you think that like that does take Nolan into like the category of like the best, like he's making like interesting, good movies, like Paul Thomas Anderson, uh
Hmm.
Robert Eggers,
Denis,
Denis.
yeah,
Well, Denis doing
Dune,
the
yeah,
Dunes, and then he's gonna do James Bond. So he's kind of leaving this, but do you know what I mean? Like,
that's true.
uh, it's like okay, if that is a big hit, I don't think there's any question. Like, probably Nolan probably is the best director, making money movies. Like I don't know how to say that the right way, but it is weird.
Yeah, and we don't know how good it's going to be. We haven't seen it. We haven't
Sure.
seen any reviews or anything like that. But I will say I think there will be a lot of interest, and it's mainly because I think almost at least in America, and I'm sure a lot overseas, everyone that's like the Odyssey is that's just a part of your somewhere along your like middle school to high school kind of English trek.
Yeah.
You pretty much read that. So people are somewhat familiar with the story, and then you attach, Christopher Nolan on there, and then you got a ton of actors in there that a lot of people know too.
Yeah.
So I think it's kind of a no doubter in terms of like, yeah, you got to do some promotion, but I think the name itself is a pretty big promotional thing, and throwing that on with Nolan. But yeah, no, I think this will be a good gauge to see where he's at, post
Yeah.
Oppenheimer.
Which
And it'll
is
be interesting to see what he does after too. I don't
Yeah.
know.
Well, I mean, I obviously uh, agree, right? And then where does he go from there? Does he keep going bigger and bigger, and it keeps having success, and he's just that name? Because we have a lot of the older guys that aren't making stuff like this anymore. Don't have that same draw in terms of, they're drawing like everyday crowds, not just like film enthusiasts or movie lovers, right? So.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, I don't know. It'll be interesting to see how that happens, especially this guy that made the Batman movies. So, like, we're saying Denise leaving it and going to do the Dune, James Bond. He can always come back and do, some
Yeah.
interesting stuff later. But I don't think that he draws the crowd the same way Nolan does, right? I don't know. I don't know if any
Hmm.
director does right now. But
Yeah. Yeah. I think he's definitely the upper echelon at the moment of guys still making movies consistently.
well, because
That is for
I
sure.
would think Paul Thomas Anderson would be in that conversation, but he's not, right? I mean, like the movies are
Yeah.
great, but then he doesn't get like the general audience to come to the movies. So kind of interesting. Maybe because he's too highfalutin. I don't know. But
Yeah. Yeah.
anyway,
Hmm.
let's move on. We'll talk about more movies, next time.
For
Tell
sure.
me about what you got behind you.
Yeah. So actually, you might see. Yeah, I'll just bring it down here. Ah, I just kind of picked this on a whim, but this is Minor Threats. It's kind of a compilation, I guess. It's not really a actual released album, but it's people just mostly kind of consider an album. But it's self-titled Minor Threat. But these guys, this is 1981. It came out, and this is
Cool.
kind of like almost they're pretty much them and Bad Brains are pretty much considered like the godfathers of like hardcore punk, and especially Minor Threat. They're pretty well known for kind of establishing the straight edge movement, which, if you're not really familiar with that movement, it's the biggest thing is you know those that are in that don't consume any like alcohol or nicotine or any kind of substances, and now it's kind of evolved. Some people now will go further, and there's kind of like veganism added into that as well, but I think the core is like staying away from substances and kind of being straight edge, being straight like that. But they're kind of like known for being, almost the starters of that movement.
Hmm.
But the music on here is like they're all pretty short songs. Like a lot of hardcore punk they're about like minute to 2 minute long songs, but they're all really, really, really good. Like the riffs on here are simple, but I don't know, they just work, and the vocals are great, and the like political messaging is awesome too. So yeah, I would say if you were trying to get into like hardcore punk, or you want to like listen to where it started, I'd say either this one from Minor Threat or Bad Brains. I think this is their first album.
Okay.
Are kind of like the best ones to get a good idea of like how things evolved from that point. But it's pretty like for 1981, it's pretty intense. Like, yeah, there's stuff coming out today that is like, you listen to the things coming out today and then this, and it's like you could still hear influences, which is really cool. But like a lot of things, the sound evolves, and the
Hmm.
um kind of the approach evolves, but a lot of it is still rooted in from this album. So yeah, I definitely recommend, or compilation, whatever you want to call it, but I definitely recommend checking it out if you like punk music in general. There's a little bit of it. There's a difference between just punk music and hardcore punk. Of course, this is a little bit more intense, as the hardcore kind of signifies.
Yeah.
But it's not too overwhelming. Like there's some that comes out even like in the 90s and later in the 80s. That's pretty like even another level of intensity and all that. But I feel like this is like kind of a good sweet spot for that kind of music. So yeah, definitely recommend. And I love the album cover too. I feel like I want to do that like after like a long day of work, just sit down and just like look
Hmm.
down, and I'm just
Hmm.
tired of everything. So yeah, some really, really, really good songs on here that I still listen to a ton of them. um, but yeah, it's kind of the only thing that's a little like frustrating is that they don't have a ton of music out. So this is kind of like the main thing. Like they have some EPs and other little demos that you can get, but this is kind of the main thing you can listen to by them.
Are they
But it's
still
great.
active?
No,
No.
no,
Okay.
I think they broke up. Um, I think in the 80s too. I don't think they were around for very long. But yeah, and I'm not sure if how many of them are still alive too.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, it came out 40 years
yeah, I'm
ago.
not I'm not too
45.
familiar with that. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So I imagine a lot of them are in their upper 60s or maybe 70s too. So the age expectancy or expectancy, I'd say, there's a good chance they're hopefully all
Yeah.
still with us. But yeah, but no, really, really good stuff. This is actually, I don't have a ton of punk in my collection, so I
Yeah.
definitely need to grow it. But I think if you're gonna start with one album to add to your collection, this is a pretty good one to start with.
Oh
So I'll
yeah.
probably try to get that Bad Brains album in there too, because that one's kind of fun because it's there's even some like reggae in there too, so it makes it kind of a fun little jam. But this one's pretty much straight to the point. Chaos, which is usually what I like. So
Yeah.
yeah, definitely like this one. But yeah, I guess I don't think there's a lot of in terms of new music. It's pretty early in the year, so there's not a lot to discuss. Or like I've been kind of playing catch up for some things I didn't listen to last year that I saw people put in their end of the year like lists and all that. So I've been trying to listen to some of those things. But yeah, there hasn't been like any super big releases so far that have caught my eye.
Okay. Fair enough. Yeah, I haven't seen anything, recently, just beyond like the special edition of the Vagger Boys album that we got, and
Right.
um,
Yeah.
there's
Few good songs on
just
there.
been stuff like that. So let's hope we get more.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
All right. Well, let's then, if you're ready, let's get on our rocket ship and fly out to space.
Yes, let's do it. Um, so I actually do have like little like show and tell
Okay.
segment for this one. It was actually a Christmas gift, and it's probably the coolest Christmas gift I've ever gotten. And I haven't used it yet, and I'm probably not going to use it for a little while until it starts getting nicer out, and I can
Yeah.
I don't know, do camping or anything like that. But I've been we talk about space all the time on here, and I've always been a little interested in astrophotography, so I did some research, and they have these pretty much they're like smart kind of telescopes, so it kind of takes a lot of the hard parts of astrophotography and makes it a little bit easier for you if you're not like super good with it, and if you're kind of a newbie like which I am. But I ended up getting this Sea Star,
Okay.
and it's really tiny, very compact.
Yeah.
But pretty much, yeah, you point it up at the sky. There's a whole app and everything like that helps you kind of control it. And yeah, I'll be able to get some astrophotography pictures. Like I'll be able to look at our the planets in our solar system. Might be able to look at some galaxies too. There were like two different kinds you could pretty much get. I think it's the S30, and then there's an S50, and they both have like different like kind of fields of view. So they kind of do two different things. Like I think this one is better for if you want to get a wider shot at everything, I believe. But if you want to get a more detailed shot, like looking closer at something, the other one, the S50, is a little bit better. But so a lot of people actually use both of them. They'll get both of these things and use them in tandems and get a shot, like a wider shot, and then one they'll get a more detailed look at what they're looking at. But I kind of got the one that seemed like a little bit better for a starter. So excuse me. But yeah, it comes up with this. It comes with a few things. It's got this tripod, but I actually. You're supposed to use it on level surfaces, but I actually ended up getting this like tripod, the separate tripod that pretty much lets you put it on an uneven surface. So like if I was out,
Cool.
camping somewhere or wherever, and the surface I'm not totally on is level, I'll still be able to use it, which is good. So and pretty much why this is really helpful is because, as you're looking at something in the sky, the earth is rotating, we're moving also at the same time. So you need something that's going to be able to fixate on when you're looking. And this is kind of what this does. It kind of auto locks on to where you're looking at, so you can get a clear image of what you're trying to see. So
Okay.
that's always the hardest part of astrophotography is dealing with the movement
Movement.
of
Yeah.
the Earth, and then these things are in the sky are technically moving too, but not a lot, because it's so far away. The actual distance it's moving over these times that you're like looking at for the image, it's probably not that much. So I think it's more the Earth's rotation, but
Hmm. That's awesome.
yeah, really cool. Yeah, and like I said, once it gets a little bit warmer out, I should be able to get some images to share on the pod, and
Yeah.
we can talk about it, and maybe even plan out what we want to look at next. So yeah, definitely something to look forward to moving forward. But yeah, super super excited, and I know I'm that's one of my goals for the New Year's is to try to use it,
Yeah.
pretty frequently when I can. So,
Yeah.
um,
It's probably too cold because you got to be outside pretty for a while, right? So it's probably too cold right now.
yeah.
But I know I think there's a uh, what's it called? Like an eclipse coming up, right? Am
Oh, is there? I didn't know that.
I don't
Yeah,
know.
that would be pretty
I don't
sweet
know, but
to
that might be a
get a
cool.
close up on that.
Yeah. I'm gonna do a quick
Yeah,
Google
yeah,
just because I'm
yeah, for sure, for sure.
think I could. Yeah. Okay. It's not gonna be over us. It looks like.
Okay, all
All
right.
right. Well.
Well, that's something good to monitor though, like in the future.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. But yeah, some stuff like that, is interesting. It looks like it's gonna be over Serbia, so we're not quite
Mhm.
in that range.
Yeah, I'll fly out to Serbia.
Yeah.
I'll start doing that. I'll quit my job and I'll start traveling and being an astrophotographer.
Yeah.
I don't really know if you could make money doing that. I don't know. It seems like there's people that do it, but
I'm sure there's gotta be some way. It's like those it's like there are people that are like meteor hunters and they like a meteor
yeah,
will come down and they like fly out there immediately and try to go get it like that same day. I mean, that's crazy.
yeah,
But
yeah. Like I guess you could like probably sell your images to places,
oh,
but
for
yeah,
sure.
this is more just like a
Yeah,
fun
yeah,
thing.
yeah.
Educational as well. But if I really like it, maybe like I mentioned before, maybe I'll get the S50 and
Mm-hmm.
I'll have two of these things going at once, looking at the same thing.
Yeah.
Get a get a couple different views, but I'm not quite at that stage yet. But I guess talking about an eclipse, though, um, in the moon, we do have the Artemis 2 mission is supposed to be launching here soon. And kind of what Artemis 2 is supposed to do, I believe, is I think they're going to try and set up the kind of the moon base station.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then there'll be Artemis 3 where they actually send people there. So I think it's at the stage of trying to get things set up on the moon. And then once we get to Artemis 3, have people go to the moon. That is probably that's definitely the step I'm most concerned with. Just because we've had, some issues in that department of our rockets getting up there safely. So I'm a little concerned with that. But I think by the time Artemis 2 is done, and by the time Artemis 3 is ready to go up there, which should be a few years from now, I think they're going to have that. They're going to have that like fully ironed out, and the percentage of error will be very very low compared to what we're seeing now. So that's what my optimism is saying. But I guess we'll see how things roll out. And I guess even if, and that's the other thing too, is there's always these delays with these launches as well.
Mm-hmm.
So they just rolled it out. They actually just rolled out the rocket to the launch pad today. I think that's
Okay.
what that image is telling me, or maybe yesterday. So they're getting there. So it probably should be sometime this week, I'd imagine. They're going to be sending it up.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. I mean, obviously. That's something, that's probably been on the plans for a long, long time is trying to get that moon base set up, right?
Mhm.
Or people have envisioned that idea. So,
Yeah.
but that's awesome though. I'm excited. I'm glad that's not something that got canceled because then a lot of projects were getting on pause, right? So,
Hmm. Oh, actually, this is actually going to be a crewed mission.
okay.
And they're going to be they're doing like instead of landing on the moon, they're doing like a 10-day trip orbiting the moon using they'll be using the space launch system, and then they're going to be using the Orion spacecraft as well. So they're going to be kind of flying around the moon. So
That's
yeah, it
awesome.
will be crewed. So
Yeah.
I will be monitoring this because anything when there's a human life involved and we're doing something new, not just like going up to the space station, which we've done you know hundreds of times at this point. So I guess
Yeah.
we'll keep an eye on that.
And this is
'Cause-
probably really hard, but we're just saying that you're gonna wait till it gets warmer out. But I wonder if you would be able to get a picture of the craft as it's or is it orbiting?
Yeah, yeah, I don't know. I think it like depends on how fast it's orbiting. Because if it's like moving pretty quick, it
Mm-hmm.
might just look like a blur, you know.
Yeah, true.
But even that would be kind of cool. Like a little streak could be like, hey,
Yeah,
that's the. I don't know. I might not be. I don't know if I'll be at the level of trying to capture that at that point, but
fair.
doesn't hurt to try though, I guess.
Yeah,
So, but yeah, I'd assume they'd probably, if they're launching this week, they'd probably be getting up to the moon sometime next week around there. It takes a little bit of time to get up there, but yeah, that should be coming soon. So I'd say I think before the end of February, we should know if everything is going good up there.
Yeah,
But
yeah. Let's hope so.
uh, yeah, yeah. I think I'm trying to think if there's anything else on the docket to cover. Um, I think just one quick thing just to throw out that is, I don't think I hear a lot of people talk about it, but it's kind of cool. Is our New Horizons spacecraft, which has been pretty much it's been on its journey for almost 20 years now, I believe. I think about 10 years ago, it got some really cool pictures of Pluto, like the mountains
Mm-hmm.
on Pluto. I've been seeing a lot of images of that kind of circulating recently. So I was like, oh, wait, yeah, this would be kind of cool to talk about. And it's also been exploring these other objects, in the Kuiper belt. So, like, pretty much just these large meteors, and or there's these almost larger than meteors, and they're called Kuiper Belt objects or KBOs. And it was studying one of these as well. I think that one's called Erikoth. Kind of sounds like a Lord of the Rings name.
Yeah.
And it's in the Kuiper Belt at the moment, and it's where it's positioned. It's actually able to study Uranus and Neptune. So yeah, so it's going to maybe give us some more info on the both of those two of those planets.
Yeah.
I'm not sure exactly what it's studying, but it's kind of cool that it's like almost 20 years deep, and it's like projected to go outside of our, like, similar to Voyager. I think it's probably projected to go outside of our like actual solar system sometime. But at the moment, it's kind of cruising through the Kuiper Belt and looking at some of these planets all the way out there. And I know Pluto's not a planet, but Pluto's still cool too.
Yeah, Pluto is cool, yeah.
Um, Pluto's cool. We gotta give Pluto some love. Um,
I
but
forget
yeah,
that
just
we have there's some I was just hearing about this. There is a satellite, like not a, yeah, I guess a satellite or like a rover we have in space right now that was hit by something and it's spinning now, and so they're having a really
mm,
hard time and they don't really know why it's spinning. They don't know what hit it. So like so it's they're having a really hard time tracking it because it's like it's doing this, and I'm forgetting which one that was, but it sounded like
Yeah, let me
potentially
see.
we're gonna lose it, which is really sad.
Yeah, that would be very sad because it's like, it's definitely not planned. You gotta, it's bound, I don't know if it's bound to happen, but it's definitely possible to
Yeah.
happen. You've got, it's more, I guess I'd say it's more likely to happen, when you're like up in orbit around the Earth because you have so
Mm-hmm.
much space debris. And, typically like when you're out in,
The nothing. Yeah.
beyond Earth,
Yeah.
yeah, we're typically pretty good at, trying to avoid those things. But, fragments break off of, probably some of these
Yeah.
objects, like I mentioned in the Kuiper Belt, and probably can start going kind of flying wherever and being rogue. So maybe it's something like that. But yeah, no, that would really suck because it's just like, especially if they were planning on still using it
Mm-hmm.
to, well, I think I see is it the Maven
Yes. Yes.
spacecraft?
Yes.
Maven. Okay, let me see. What does this guy do? Um, Mars. It stands for Mars Atmosphere and Volatile Evolution. Um,
Hmm.
and it's studying how Mars lost its atmosphere, revealing insights into its climate and water history. And then it also acts as like kind of a communication relay for the surface rovers on Mars. Curiosity and Perseverance.
Mm-hmm.
So that would be almost a double kind of whammy. If it's doing these science studies on Mars about the atmosphere, but also if it's helping relay communications to the rovers, that would suck on both ends for that.
Yeah.
So,
But and that's
um,
what I'm saying. Like, and I think what I saw was that it's they actually have lost it or like lost track of where it is because of how like it's moving, and they can't they're
mhm.
having a really hard time figuring out how it's moving, and so it's hard to tell from that. So hopefully they're able to
Damn.
have a fix for it. But yeah.
Ugh. Okay. Well, it looks like that may have happened like a month ago or so.
Okay.
So I don't know if there's any more, um,
Updates.
or actually almost 2 months ago, two
Wow.
months ago now. And it seems like they haven't been able to get any information. So I don't know. It seems like that's kind of a lost cause, but
That sucks.
that's just one of those things, when we don't have like when we don't have humans and spacecraft out there already, orbiting, it's like lose communication. It's like we're pretty much SOL
Yeah.
on these things.
Yeah.
Yeah, but hopefully it seems like it's been active for over 10 years now. So I don't know what
The light.
the
Yeah.
life,
True.
what they had for the actual the mission life was for it initially. So if it went beyond that, then maybe it's not as serious, but it's still, if it's, giving you good data and you're using it for other things like communications, then regardless,
Yeah.
that's a bummer.
Yep. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's a good, updates for what's going on in the space world. Obviously we'll track
Yep.
that stuff, and I'm excited to see the photos that you get on the with the camera, it'll be exciting. Um,
Yeah. Hopefully they don't suck too much, hopefully
well,
they like,
it's a learning thing, right? So hopefully,
that's true. That's
really
true.
you really want the first ones to be not good, so that way when you get good,
That,
there's clear growth, right? Yeah, that's
yeah.
the goal.
Yeah. I
But
like that. I like
anything
that.
else for this time?
No, I don't think I have anything.
Alrighty, well, thanks everyone for joining us, and we'll be back. Cheers.
Cheers.